All right, time now for All Things Gators. Haven't had one of these in a while, but this is a great time to do it. Dan Hicken and Frank Frangie. What's up, Hick?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, the best in the business, se-ortho.com, for all your orthopedic needs. Frank, a little bit of hyperbole here.
Yes.
A little bit of hyperbole, but a monumental weekend for the Florida Gators in a lot of ways. And I think maybe the most impactful day for the Gators in 5 years.
Certainly in a long time.
Yeah.
And listen, we had this conversation. Mm-hmm. He was on schedule. I know people were concerned. You were even a little bit that they weren't committing, but he was on schedule. You get the job. You're not going to be Alabama in January, but first get the job, then hire the enormous staff and all the good recruiters. Then get thinking about that building you're going to inherit. Then you got to start getting people that are listening, right? That are considering you. Then they got to start putting your logo on their top 10 and top 8 and top 5. And then they have to visit your campus. Well, all that was happening. All that was on schedule. The only thing that wasn't happening yet, Dan, were the commitments, and now they're happening. So, no, I think it's the numbers by now, 20 commitments, 18 are blue chip. That's a 90% blue chip ratio. It's an amazing stretch for them. I totally agree with you.
Billy Blue Chip is what we're calling him now. And here's why I think the main reason why it was monumental. And by the way, the opening of the practice facility, the Heavener practice facility, added to it, in my opinion. But you tell me the last time you had Alabama, Georgia, Florida hats, and they weren't hat, but symbolically,
right?
And somebody pulled the Gator hat and put it on their head. That's why I think that's out of a kid who's from the state of Alabama, and is their highest rated player. And that at least sends a message to the other two guys that, you know what, we're playing ball too. I thought it was tremendous. Then they added to it. Then they added to it again. 3 defensive linemen, all big dudes, building inside out. I love getting D linemen. I want all O linemen. I listen, if you're going to beat Georgia and they got all those dudes, you better get some dudes too. And so that excited me as well. So there were a lot of, and then the opening of the complex, and then Ernest Graham's kid going to Florida,
right? Which
everybody might think is a no-brainer, but I think if I'm not incorrect here, the guy recruiting him at Alabama, Robert Gillespie.
Yeah, well, and he's from College Park, Georgia, is where they live now,
right?
Which is near the Atlanta airport, which means if you're near the Atlanta airport, you're very close to Athens.
Sure.
So no, you're right about that. Listen. The names, Cameron James, Kelby Collins, Will Norman. Let me tell you the joy in that. First of all, one's from Gardendale, Alabama. You're exactly right. So that's a guy that Alabama wanted.
Right.
One's from IMG, and finally Florida's
getting those guys. Which is also big, yep.
But the big thing, Dan, is I've told you this. The reason I think they're going to struggle this year, you win in the SEC, all football really, with quarterback play and D-line. You look at all the teams that are winning national championships. They have big defensive linemen. Shoot, Georgia had 3 drafted in the first round this year. Not a surprise they won the national championship. Alabama has them every year. Clemson had 3 or 4 that one year. That's how you win national championships, is with defensive line. And that's what Florida had not had and not been getting. All 3 of these guys are big-time D linemen. That's how you win, and that's not lost on Billy Napier. So I loved it when they got the receivers. I love the weekend. They came in waves. I love the weekend when the Jacksonville guys all jumped in, right? We're all in Jacksonville. So Stokes and Webb and the defensive back from Bartram before that. So that was all kind of lumped together. Then the receivers kind of got lumped together. This is the big lumping for me because it's defensive linemen. And look, I never doubted he would do this. I never doubted he would build it, big staff, create culture, have people want to go there, inherit the building. Now, again, you still got to win on the field. If they have a bad year on the field, you're worried that maybe some of those 20 don't hold. They can't sign until December, but I love where they are. I think they are on schedule, and Dan, maybe now even a little bit ahead of schedule. I hadn't said that before. Now maybe a little ahead of schedule.
All right, well, so here's what we know. Florida moves up basically into the top 10, and this is a legit top 10, right? Like, I think the previous regime, not to pile on, but a bad weekend for Dan Mullen as we recruit during recruiting season, and Damian Pierce runs wild in the NFL, but we'll get to that later. But what we do know is that Florida is 10th and has room to grow still. And so if they can add a couple more pieces here along the way, they've got 13, I think I read or saw in ESPN's top 300, 24/7. They're 10th overall. So whatever service you want to look at on 3, they're doing very well. So for him to do this kind of impact is a big deal. And, again, the only thing missing, and I believe it'll come based on what he's been able to do so far, is when you look at the top 50 guys, couple logos sprinkled in there, that would be sweet too.
Yeah. And I think they're going to get more. I like a few more offensive linemen. They've been more defensive line heavy.
Right.
I think a few more offensive linemen, but recruiting's in good shape. And listen, he's going to recruit, man. There's no debating that. He's going to recruit. Again, we'll see how they coach. I think they're going to coach well, but we haven't seen that yet. But I'm not surprised by this. And I'll say this, and it's a segue, I guess. Look at the pictures of that building. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That thing is part of it these days is the big staff. Part of it is hiring a recruiting staff.
Yeah.
And a lot of recruiters, and maybe guys that are maybe a little bit younger than the guys Dan Mullen had on his staff that relate a little bit better, not just to players, but today's high school football coaches, Dan, are 25 and 35 years old.
Right.
They're not the old school coaches as much. Now, I'm not saying there's not any.
Sure.
But there's not the old school coach who's 62, he's our age, and has been there 35 years, and he's a legend in the town. That guy isn't around as much anymore. The guys influencing these kids are their parents, the younger coaches, and I think younger recruiters maybe connect a little bit better. So, and again, I'm not being biased. I'm 63 years old. I'm just telling you, I think there's more of that with this staff, big staff, the right size of staff, the building, and a really good recruiting head coach. Alabama's taken that formula, and Georgia and Clemson have taken that formula and won a bunch of national titles.
Right.
The goal is the national title, and that's the formula that Georgia and Clemson and Ohio State have used to win. Georgia, Clemson, and Alabama have used to win a lot of national titles. They really have.
We tape a podcast with Spurrier and Doring and Matthews. That'll be up here in the next few days. But anyway, they all are very much not just in favor, but really like what Billy Napier's done. Doring said he's been Alabama a couple times and had more than one from Alabama come up to him and say, "You got the right guy." I think there's a lot of excitement now that it has really started to grow. And I think what this does, look, Billy Napier's had his plan and he's confident. But Gator fans, me included, were like, okay, but what about the big guys? What about the 5 stars? What about this? What about that? And listen, I mean, we are impatient. The patience doesn't go along with Florida football fans. It just doesn't. But this gives you such optimism as we head into opening with Utah here in a couple Saturdays. I mean, it's tremendous. So job well done for that staff, and reason to celebrate and reason to keep going. But I think the future is very bright right now.
I do too. And the segue now is to the Utah game and to the football team.
Oh boy.
I'm excited about what I think they are. I hated the injury to Pearsall.
Yeah.
Ricky Pearsall, the transfer receiver from Arizona State, by all accounts, is a pretty good player now.
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing maybe a slot guy. It's funny. The game has changed a little bit where big, strong, and fast is great, but guys that change directions, Tyreek Hill and Cooper Kupp and guys that can play in that slot and are all the rage now. There's a reason Cooper Kupp suddenly is the most dominant receiver in the league because of his change direction. Tyreek Hill's been that guy. Pearsall's supposed to be that guy.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and there's no telling. First, you heard indefinitely. That made me think 6 to 8, and he broke his foot. Now you find out it's a bone bruise of some sort, and that it could be as few as 3 weeks. So I don't know. My guess is, and I'm guessing, by the way, I don't want to misrepresent.
Right.
My guess is it'd be tough for him to play against Utah, but hopefully they have him early in the season because that one concerned me a little. I got to be honest.
Well, it should. And Matthews raved about him. He's been to practice a couple of times, and he told me the guy is like a bigger McGriff, if you want to compare. But yeah, I listen. They can use him for sure. There's a role for that young man, and he was wowing them during camp. So he's one to we hope gets back quickly. They're gonna have their hands full. They're gonna have their hands full this year. It's gonna be it'll be interesting. A lot of hype around Anthony Richardson. Well, he's definitely the most hyped quarterback in Florida since Tebow. Maybe the most hyped quarterback in the history of Florida football in terms of, he's gone from, we should play him to Heisman Trophy first round guy.
Right. I gotta tell you,
Yeah.
I think, and this is the no duck comment of the day, not exactly breaking news, but if he plays 12 games, Dan, and I know there's a lot about him we haven't seen yet, but if he starts and finishes 12 games, which in this day and age, quarterbacks don't generally get hurt. They can, but he's had some injury stuff. So
we'll knock on some wood here, Frank.
I know. I'm knocking on it too. I'm with you. But and listen, if a guy's had a little bit of an injury history, you're not convinced he's not going to continue to be injured until he's not injured. And that's no knock on Anthony. That's just a reality, no matter who we were talking about. But Dan, if he can start and finish 12 games, I think this season's going to be okay. I don't know what okay means. Right. I don't think they're winning 10 or 11 games. I've had them as a 7 or 8 win team.
Okay.
Because no matter how many games they win, no matter how well he plays, he doesn't play defensive line. And I think that's a gigantic hole for this team. But if he can start and finish 12 games, then that tells me he can keep them in some games and can rally them from some deficits. And the season will be okay. It still might only be 8 wins. Might be 7 wins, might be 9 wins, but I think there will be positive momentum when it's over. And right now, you just need a pretty good season to hold on to those 20 recruits plus whoever else is going to come too. What you don't want to have is a disastrous on-field thing.
Right.
And then all these guys who've committed start thinking, I don't know. Meanwhile, Georgia and Alabama are winning all their games.
Right.
Their recruiters are still talking to them now.
Oh, yeah.
So you need to have, again, you don't need to go 12-0, but there needs to be some momentum in the program of what you do on the field, I think, to hold those guys in December.
All right, here's my question for you, Frank Frangie. Scrambles aside, how many rushes when the season ends and Anthony Richardson presumably stays healthy the whole year will he have? How many times will he tote the rock for the Gators? Quick math, please. Not
as many as you would have thought. If there's no injury and you're taking now there's going to be a lot of scrambles.
Yeah, scrambles aside. I'm talking about. Well, he has options to run, and he runs, but not drop back, look around, take off.
So called running plays and RPOs, 7, 8 a game, 6 or 7 a game.
Okay.
I think 6 or 7 a game, so 50. Which is
wow.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow, you know how many times he carried it one year at Florida? 210.
Yeah, I'd be, and so even if you take the scrambles out, there's probably 150. No, I don't think that's where they are with him.
Okay,
I don't think that's what. I think the game's changed a little bit since then.
Okay,
I think 60. Put me down for not counting. If you count scrambles, I'll still say under 100. How about you?
Lunch bet. Because I like to have lunch, because I like you to buy me lunch.
I know you do.
I always seem to win these.
I lose these. I buy you a lot of lunch. And I don't like that.
Lunch bet, I'll give you 100. Okay. And say it's over.
I'll go under. I'll easily go under. And that's counting scrambles, right?
Yes.
Every run. Okay.
Yes.
I'll go under the 100.
Yes.
I'll definitely go under the 100.
Can I give you a quick Steve Spurrier-ism?
Yes. Love it. Who doesn't love those? Kidding me?
So we've done this thing a couple years, and when I introduce him, I always like to try to find a statistic about him because he loves the stats.
Yeah, he does.
And he loves the fact that he was really good.
Right.
So I thought, 12 conference losses, that's pretty good.
Right.
So only 12 conference losses in his time in Florida. Oh, Dan, I got a better one than that. I said, okay, talk to me. And this is a great one.
Right.
Okay. Like last year, his big one was the winningest quarterback at home in Gator history was Shaner. He never lost at home.
18-0.
18-0. This year, Spurrier told me this. We won more conference titles, 7, than we had home losses, 5.
How about that? Great. Now if he says 7, he's counting 90, which I count too, by the way. I count 90.
Can you give me the 5? Frank Frangie, noted Gator historian.
Yeah.
I think you'll have no problem, but maybe you'll have to think a little.
Okay.
What are the 5 Gator home losses under Orr?
Okay. All right. Well, I'll give you the obvious, in no order here.
Yes, no order.
The Tennessee in 01, the last one.
Yes.
Auburn in 94, obviously.
Yes. What do you remember about the Auburn game?
Well, the Frank Sanders, obviously.
Correct.
So the corner of the end zone. So Frank Sanders game.
What would you say about that Tennessee game?
Well, it was an awful. Ernest Graham didn't play in the game, and it was a terrible.
Travis Stevens, right?
Yeah, and that too. So Tennessee and Auburn.
Very good.
I got to think about this now. There's three more, huh?
Yes.
Let me think. No. No, they never got him. Oh, Alabama when Daryl Jackson dropped the punt.
Look at you, Frank Franchi.
Missed
Inglewood High School's own. Ram tough, ladies and gentlemen.
So Alabama
doing it proud.
Alabama dropped the punt. Tennessee 01, Auburn 94. Hey, don't stop. I'm just getting warm. I'm just warming up.
You're very good.
Two more losses at home.
Two.
Conference.
One's obvious. You'll get it.
I'm missing an obvious one.
Yes.
Okay.
If I could give you one. Okay.
No, hints are overrated. There's another at home.
Yes.
That I should know. Huh?
Yes, sir.
I should know this.
Yes.
I'm going through the league. I know the league. I know who's in it.
Maybe you shouldn't do that.
Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't.
You're gonna go. Oh my God.
Under Spurrier, an obvious one, huh? No. The LSU loss was there. The Georgia loss was in Jacksonville.
What do we say in the what do we say in the South when it's time to get something done? What do we say? We say get her done. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
And what's that last word of that sentence?
Jolie Dunn.
No,
Dunn.
You're along those lines though.
Dunn. Somebody named Dunn. No, you got me. You totally got me. Warwick, that wasn't a conference loss.
I didn't say conference loss.
Oh, loss was in the swamp. I thought you said
home losses. Conference championships, home loss.
Right. Well, obviously the 93 FSU game.
Yes.
Okay. That would have jumped right out.
You're off the hook.
Okay. Yeah. So home loss is 5.
You chose not to listen to me instead. That's fine.
Well, and it's not the first time I haven't listened to you. So, but there's 5. I'm still missing one, but it was a home loss, huh?
Yeah, it might have been another FSU game.
Yeah, probably. Let's say 91.
Didn't Jesse James Palmer throwing in the end zone late to try to score on a comeback with
99.
Yeah.
99.
Right?
Yeah. 99. Okay. So the 3 conference losses and the 2 FSU.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
I'm thinking, who in the world beat them in the conference?
That's
I'm grinding on them. So no, that's absolutely fantastic. And I remember that all of them. The 99 team wasn't a great team.
Right.
The other teams were good teams.
Yes.
The 93 game, that was FSU team, one of the best FSU teams of all time.
Correct.
The 2001 team, I told Steve, he thinks 95. I asked him, so what's your best team? He thinks 95 is his best team.
You like you've always liked 01.
I think 01's the best team. I think 01's the best team they ever fielded. I think that team would have beat Miami. I'm a homer, I admit it.
Yep.
But I think that team would have won. So,
that's well done, Frank Franchi.
All right, Hick, I'm waiting. We'll do this every week now.
Oh, I'm excited, baby.
We'll talk about a football season.
We got ball coming.
But this is a good week to celebrate a building and recruits, and I can't wait to talk more. That's All Things Gators. All Things Orange and Blue, Dan Hicken and Frank Frangi. See you.
Thank you, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, se-ortho.com for all your orthopedic needs in the Jacksonville area. Frank, have a great week.
You too, Hick. Take care, buddy.